Retirement sounds so simple from a distance. Stop working, travel, relax. But when you actually hit the brakes on a decades-long career, the reality can hit you like a wall. For 30 or 40 years, you have likely had a built-in answer to the question, what do you do? Suddenly, that answer changes. Losing that default identity creates an unexpected and very real sense of psychological friction. You leave behind an income, but you also lose the built-in community at the office, the societal status attached to your title, and the rigid daily routine that told you exactly where to be on a Tuesday morning. You wake up to a calendar that is completely empty. That freedom sounds incredible on paper, but in practice, looking at thousands of unstructured hours can feel surprisingly paralyzing. This transition is a major psychological event that requires you to redefine who you are without your career at the center of your life.
The problem is that modern retirement planning is severely asymmetric. We focus almost entirely on the math and ignore the lifestyle. This diagram highlights how we usually prepare. The first question everyone asks is, will I have enough money? We check off our savings, pensions, and insurance. We spend decades and often thousands of dollars in advisory fees building and optimizing this specific financial portfolio to make sure we can afford to quit working. But there is a second question that deserves just as much attention. What am I retiring to? How will you replace that identity, build your Tuesday morning routine, and find a new community? A successful financial plan guarantees you can fund the withdrawal phase, but it does absolutely nothing to help you architect the 2,000 hours a year that your career just vacated. A retirement coach acts as the lifestyle architect for this transition, helping you figure out how you actually want to live. You wouldn't leave your investments to chance. Building a fulfilling post-career life requires the exact same deliberate planning and external expertise as building a 401k. There is no single correct version of retirement. Whether you actually need a coach comes down to two very specific, highly personal factors. First is career identity attachment. How tied is your sense of self to your previous title? Second is future clarity. Do you have clear goals or a blank calendar? The most at-risk demographic sits right here. Highly successful professionals with zero plan for their time. If you fall into this group, the path forward requires a specific input. You have to trade some emotional vulnerability to rebuild your self-worth outside of your past professional achievements. That can be deeply uncomfortable, but avoiding that vulnerability risks a severe loss of purpose and profound stagnation when the novelty of not working wears off. Accurately identifying your emotional starting point is the required first step before you can successfully design a custom next chapter. Then comes the practical challenge. What does an ordinary Tuesday morning actually look like when you have massive amounts of unstructured time? A coach helps you move past the highlight reel of vacations and golfing. The goal is to actively map out a daily schedule that provides genuine structure and ongoing challenges. This means you have to abandon the fantasy of doing nothing. You have to apply the same strict discipline you used in your career toward building your personal hobbies and goals. It also means navigating sudden relationship friction. When you are suddenly home all day, every day, the dynamic with your spouse or partner inevitably shifts. Addressing this requires initiating difficult conversations. You have to set boundaries around family expectations and establish personal autonomy within the house. Sacrificing the myth of effortless relaxation is the necessary price you pay to maintain your relationship health and generate reliable personal momentum. If you are analytically minded, you might be skeptical. Does investing your capital in a seemingly soft category like life coaching actually yield a tangible return? The data says yes. Research from the International Coaching Federation quantifies the actual return on investment for clients who go through this process. This chart shows the reported outcomes. The primary shift is internal, with 80% of coaching clients reporting improved self-confidence after leaving their careers behind. The external lifestyle improvements are just as clear. 73% report improved relationships, and 67% achieve better work-life balance. You are weighing these measurable, high-impact improvements against the inputs required: your time, your emotional effort, and the financial cost of hiring a professional. When you look at the numbers, the high statistical return on coaching acts as a vital insurance policy against the hidden long-term costs of a failed, stagnant retirement. Before you move forward, we need to clarify the strict operational boundaries of what a retirement coach actually does, and more importantly, what they cannot provide. This flowchart makes the boundaries clear. Need legal, tax, medical, or investment advice? Hard stop. You need a licensed fiduciary. Next, look at your current structure. Have a rigidly planned daily schedule ready to execute? Coaching isn't needed. If you don't, proceed to a match. If you already possess a deeply entrenched secondary identity, like an active side business you are scaling, or a rigorous hobby network you engage with daily, you should skip this service. A retirement coach is strictly a lifestyle and transition architect. They are completely distinct from your wealth manager. If you are ready to design your next chapter, you hit one final point of friction, sorting through thousands of unverified coaches online to find someone you actually trust. That is why Noomii built the SmartMatch process. Using your quiz results, it filters a network of more than 34,000 professionals down to 5 specific, personalized options. The matching process is entirely free, but deciding to move forward means committing funds to a category you probably haven't budgeted for historically: yourself. You have a choice between the fear of a constantly empty calendar and the excitement of an actively managed, purposeful next chapter. You spent decades building your career. Don't leave your next chapter to chance. Review your top 5 Noomii matches today and start actively designing the life you want to live.